can you lose fat just by doing resistance exercises? Again, yeah, it is a simple answer to that. And I'll pass you over to Nathan for the explanation.
So we've got there EPOC, that's excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Yeah, cheers. So hence why it's been shortened down. Basically all that means it's like an afterburn effect to exercise. So for any bout of exercise you do, whether that's running on a treadmill, whether that's lifting weights, circuit training, all of those types of exercise will have a certain afterburn effect. So you burn calories whilst you do the exercise, or you burn fat whilst you do the exercise, and then you burn calories and fat for a period of time after that exercise as well. Okay? Depending on the type of exercise you do, depends on how long that afterburn effect lasts. And what you tend to find is that your more aerobic training, particularly steady state stuff like sort of your running, your cycling, rowing, things like that, will tend to have quite a short afterburn effect. Whereas your resistance training, so whether that be circuit resistance training with body weights, whether that be using kettlebells and dumbbells, things like that, whether that be working more weight training with your resistance machines or your barbells, things like that, they're going to have a much bigger afterburn effect than your cardio. Okay, so you're going to perhaps be burning calories and fat for an extra sort of 24 hours, perhaps maybe anything up to 48 hours after the actual exercise session you did. So although you're maybe not burning as much during the session, you're going to burn a hell of a lot more afterwards. So that way you can lose fat just through doing resistance training. You might find that a combination of the two is better, but it depends on each individual, but you can do it. And
on that topic, just to give you kind of idea, in terms of the fitness camp side of things, we get people to kind of track that, and we've tracked people's kind of progress as they've gone through the camps, and generally losing through the camp 600-700 calories generally is an outline for that. And we get them to kind of, we monitor them afterwards, a good kind of hour after the camp, just to give you an idea that they're burning well over 1,000 calories for their session. So they're doing an hour session, an hour just while they're walking home, and then sitting down at home, having some, obviously, a balanced nutrition plan afterwards. But obviously they're burning excess amounts of calories afterwards. So well over 1,000 calories each session they're kind of looking at. So just gives you an idea of the type of training and the afterburn. Massively, massively important. So obviously we've got a question here. Some of my friends are afraid of putting on muscle because they think it will make them bigger or even look fatter as the muscle pushes out the fat they have not yet lost. Or if they stop, they fear there will be more flab. I think any comforting message and information about this will help. Muscle weighs the same as fat, not more, but it takes up less room per unit of weight. So again, obviously covering on this topic, massively important. Going back to some of the questions we kind of looked at, so we are kind of covering similar topics to what we've already looked at. So if we can try and put on increase our lean muscle tissue, obviously that's a massive important thing. Obviously that's going to boost our metabolism. So again, starting to get us to burn more calories as we rest, and that's massively important. If we can increase our lean muscle tissue when we're at rest, not actually exercising, just ticking over, we're going to be burning more calories. Again, we're going to be burning more fat off our body. So that's the real outline, and what we kind of look at is can we affect that lean muscle? Can we increase that lean muscle? Again, with kind of the females, again, with this topic, it's a big kind of key thing. Again, the hormones within our body play a massive role within that, and obviously guys gain muscle a little bit quicker than females just because of the testosterone in their system. So again, women will find it quite hard to become the next Madonna overnight. It's not going to happen that quickly. It really is about just really optimizing them windows of opportunity, that kind of 20 to 50 age group where you can really try and maximize the lean muscle, again affecting that bone density. Really is that kind of window opportunity, and it's stupid not to take advantage of that opportunity to increase our lean muscle. Massively important. So again, going back to that, pushing out the fat, again, not really on that topic, but again, if we can increase that lean muscle tissue, that's the kind of main thing that we can try and achieve for that fat loss aspect.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without being sort of too harsh, if sort of women are training and they are feeling like they're bulking up, your diet isn't right, because you're going to be putting on body fat. You're not going to be putting on muscle. So you've got to get the diet right alongside the training, or you're not going to get the shape that you want, basically. Okay. So if you want to tone your arms, presumably you have to lose some weight off them first before muscle definition can show through, and surely this has to be done through a mix of cardio and weights. So toning up an area is often misunderstood. Basically, when people think of sort of toning up, they think, well, if I just do some exercise for a specific area, it's going to look firmer, and that's the appearance that I want. And for your body to look firmer, to look leaner, there's two things have to take place. You have to put a little bit of muscle on, and you have to lose the body fat over the top. Okay, so as it says there, so you've got to lose some weight off them first. It's more you've got to lose some fat off of the top before you're going to see the muscle definition. That's definitely true. Whether it has to be through a mix of cardio and weights, again, both could work. You could find that doing weights alone could work as long as you've got the diet right, as long as you're eating to lean up rather than eating to grow. So eating a nice, clean, healthy, balanced diet. And then you could also do that through a mixture of your cardio and your weights together. What I'd probably say is, from a training program design point of view, is do your weights first, then do your cardio afterwards if you're going to include both together, because your weights are going to use up your glycogen stores in your muscles, because they need a lot of that for the energy to perform resistance training, and then your cardio type training will then deplete your fat stores in the period afterwards. Okay, if you do it the other way around, it's not quite as effective. And the last little bit on the bottom there is you can only grow muscle or lose muscle. There's no real sort of toned or untoned, because technically tone is just is the muscle it contracted or not. Okay, so you're only either growing muscle or you're losing muscle. So there's no toning exercises as opposed to bodybuilding exercises. They're all just exercises, and that's where you often see women using a lot of very light weights because they don't want to bulk up, which essentially is kind of holding you back in the progress you could be making. If you actually train heavier and actually start to put some sort of muscle on, although that's going to be difficult and that's going to take time, that's going to be more beneficial for you in getting you looking lean in a shorter space of time. Okay, so don't be afraid of the weights.
Next question. Is it better to eat just before training or leave a few hours before? And what should I have? Again, obviously we've kind of put on there the general outline, trying to eat a balanced meal 2 to 3 hours before your session. Again, everyone's kind of different. This personal kind of preference. I'd eat something bigger, that kind of couple of hours before I train. But then as I kind of progress towards my training session, I'll have something else as well. And I don't mind eating kind of an hour, 30 minutes before I train. I don't mind that, but it's completely personal preference on that. The kind of key is just putting them foods in your diet that do give you that energy, so you can put as much effort as you can into your session, and therefore you'll get more out of it. So again, some people eating the hour before will find them very, very sluggish within the session just because their body's trying to process that food. So it's generally down to that kind of that preference again. What does your lifestyle allow? Again, that's the question. Again, all as we go through, we generally kind of maybe working all day, so we haven't had time to grab anything to eat, and it's just really about planning your day out, planning your lifestyle out, so that you've got then windows to eat throughout the day. So we're not allowing our blood sugar levels to get really low. We're not allowing ourselves to have minimal amount of energy. So when we do go to the gym, we're not making the most of our time spent there. So it's really about eating so that we've got as much energy as we can for that session. However you go about that, whether it's 2-3 hours, whether it's an hour before you train, then it doesn't really matter too much. It's just finding the types of foods that work best for you within your session. Again, yeah, what foods leave you feeling energetic? So same kind of topic. So again, just trying to eat something, again, protein based but carbohydrate based. Obviously, like Nathan was talking about, the complex carbohydrates, so obviously looking at your brown rices and things like that, yeah, they do want to be the types of foods you want to be eating 2 to 3 hours before. It's going to take your body a little bit longer to process them types of foods. Again, as you build up toward your session, you can start taking other little bits and bats. So whether you go into a protein and carb mix in terms of a shake of some nature, or whether you take some fruit and nuts and seeds and things on board as well before your sessions. Again, just experiment with what works for you and gives you the right amount of energy for your session, so you get the most out of it, and that's the key. What would you recommend to eat after a training session, and how quickly do I need to eat? Again, obviously, after exercise, your body's calling out for necessary fuels for recovery and repair. So again, fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, we all use them to repair and recover our system. So it's massively important that makes sense to get a balance of them things. We also need, again, with our kind of training, the way we train a lot, resistance-based type of training, we do need that bit more kind of protein in our diet. Yes, we obviously need carbohydrates. We've burnt them alongside our fat as we've kind of trained, so it's important to replace them into our system as well. So in terms of your kind of general outline, you would generally look at taking a good percentage on of protein. So if you're looking at your general plate, you try and take a good kind of half plate full protein of whatever nature that would be, your meat, whatever. And again, you take a kind of split that into a quarter of your complex carbs if you can, and again, getting plenty of vegetables, etc., on there as well to compensate as well and make up the kind of carb side of things. So just get as much nutrients on board, make sure the protein's got to be in there. Again, some people use the protein shakes afterwards. Yeah, they're okay. Just be selective on the ones that you do in terms of the toxins that are in there and the chemicals, etc., that are in some of the products out there. So okay.